Okay. So that is what called transaction. And analytical process is nothing but so you would have noticed something, right? Interesting. Like if you inquired something in the yatra.com, if you try to book some flight ticket, or if you try to do some online purchase in fast track, or any other e-commerce sites. If you are doing some online shopping, try to do some online shopping, try to book a ticket, flight ticket, or if you try to book a traveling packages, whatever. Okay. So and you try to do that, you browse it and you inquire everything in the form, in the pen their page, and finally you decided to not book anything, and you simply close the page. And after some time you may browse Facebook or Twitter or whatever the social sites. Did you guys notice some pop-up will come? Hey, are you really try to book the ticket? Yeah, Yatra is giving this much offer, this many offer, and you can come and avail this. Did you guys notice these pop-ups, like the Yatra or whatever the sites you browsed? You browsed it and you closed it. After that, you'll get a pop-up, and it will ask you, it will call you their site, their website to redo the work, to rebook the whatever the things you inquired. So this is called data analytical process. The basically data scientist will do that. So what will exactly happen is, if you are inquiring something in the online, the application will capture your IPs and your whatever your details. It will capture your details, and it will check. Okay, this customer is tried to book the ticket from here and here to there, and he didn't book it. Okay, where is he now? Okay, he is in this IP now. We'll give him the pop-up notification, pop-up advertisement now to him, to book him, to make you to book the ticket again, or to make you to come to their website again. So this is called analytical process. And if you are doing online purchase, or if you are doing a continuous purchase at somewhere, the entire data will be there in their databases, like the data warehouse or somewhere. So later on they will analyze you. Okay, what is you, and how many times you purchased, and what are the things you purchased. They do some analytical. Okay, they have some own language to do this, kind of R language or Python language, that is very much used for the data analytical purposes. Data scientists use those languages. So by using those languages, they will analyze what are you, and what are you, and what did you purchase, and what did you inquire, everything. They will analyze your data. So that is called OLAP, analytical processes. Okay. So NoSQL technologies and the big data are very much used for the OLAPs. So these are the examples for the OLTPs and OLAPs. And scaling, horizontal scaling and the vertical scaling. Okay. So the RDBMS mostly has the horizontal scaling, and the NoSQL has the vertical scaling. I'll tell you what is horizontal scaling and what is vertical scaling. I'm sorry, the NoSQL has the horizontal scaling. Okay. So the vertical scaling means, see, if you are writing some data in the database, okay, so the database, the RDBMS will write in the form of data files and the table space. Okay. So if you are writing something this, right, so consider this example of this Excel sheet. um, so the Excel sheet will store in the database as a data file. Okay, kind of dot dbf. If it is an Oracle, it will save in the format of dot dbf. Okay, if it is Oracle, it will save dot dbf. If it is MySQL, it will save in the format of dot myd. If it is a MySOM table, and dot ibd if it is a InnoDB table. Okay, the file format, guys, this is the freshers don't ibd. Okay. And if it is PostgreSQL, it will save in the form of, I don't remember. Okay. And so this is the data files basically called. Okay. And then it's a physical file, and then logically it is called as a table space. Okay, the collective of this database, this data files called as a table space. Okay. So This is the physical storage. Say for example, by the time of DB installation, you will give a database path, data directory path. Say for example, data/data/ or a database file something. So or a data if it is Oracle, okay, and // MySQL data, okay, kind of. So this is again, this is the data mount points in the Linux OS. I'll tell you. I'll show you the Linux OS later. Now consider this is on the Windows. Okay. So in the Windows, if you are saving some files, okay, you are having a video, you're downloading a video, 1 GB file, 2 GB file, 100 GB file. You are saving this in this disk, e-disk. Okay. The 100 GB videos you are downloading from the YouTube. Okay. Total how much space is available now? 146 space is available, right? 146 GB. And you are downloading 50 more GB. Already you downloaded 100 GBs and you are downloading 50 more GB. What will happen? Totally have 146 and you are about to download 150 GB. What will happen? The disk will give you an error, right? There is no space available. And what you do in this case, guys? So you will increase the storage of this E drive, right? You will add 100 GB more. Okay. Again, you are downloading 200 GBs, 250 GBs, 300 GBs. What you do? You will add again 100 GB, 100 GB, 100 GB, 100 GB. Finally, it came 1 terabyte or 10 terabyte. 10 terabyte of data you are downloading. 10 terabyte of data you are writing in the same disk. So what you do in the particular time, you cannot increase the storage, correct? You see, this laptop has some configuration, correct? It will accept only till the storage reach or the threshold, right? The throttling limit, the threshold limit. So if it exceeds the threshold, the database softwares will not be, I mean, the laptop softwares will not be able to handle that storage. So it has kind of limitations, right? And you are adding this disk 10 terabyte. What about the RAM? Simultaneously, in parallel, you have to increase the RAM size as well. You have to increase the CPU as well to get the better performance. You got me, guys? See, my CPU is 100% utilized now. My memory is 52% utilized and my CPU is 15% utilized and my disk is 10% utilized. Okay. And consider my disk is 100% utilized. What will be the performance? The performance obviously will decrease, right? Consider my memory is 100% utilized. My performance obviously will decrease, right? So I'm keep on increasing it, but still it utilizing it. I'm keep on increasing the storage, but still I'm downloading from YouTube, downloading from the Facebook. I'm doing the data transactions. I mean, I'm downloading, I'm uploading, I'm doing a lot of things. What will happen? The things, whatever happening in the memory will be slow. The things, whatever happening in the CPU will slow. To retrieve this data, if I open this, consider my disk is 100% filled. My memory is 100% filled. My CPU is 100% filled. If I click, if I try to access this mount point, will I be able to do that? No. So obviously all resources are 100% utilized. I will not be able to do the operations. It will, if I click it, it will go to the next page. It will, it will take a lot of time in terms of minutes or hours to open this page. Correct? If the resources are heavily used, I'm telling. Now it is not heavily used, only 52% of my memory. So what will happen if my memory reached 100%? What will happen? What should I do? I need to increase the memory to 8 more GB. Now I have 8 GB RAM. I need to add 8 more GBs. And there will be some limitations. If I don't have the extra memory slot in my laptop, I cannot add it. And if I don't have extra hard disk to support, I cannot add the hard disk. So there are some limitations, right? The CPUs, I cannot increase my CPUs in a particular limit. There are some limitations. If I didn't increase it, what will happen? I cannot perform the operation. I cannot store any record. So this is called vertical scaling. Vertically, I'm increasing the same disk, the E disk. I'm vertically downloading, I'm doing my operations, all operations in this E disk, and I'm always increasing, downloading, uploading, whatever I'm doing in this same disk. That is called vertical scaling. The vertical scaling means increasing my laptop, increasing, this is my machine, okay, my Linux machine or my Windows machine, whatever the machine where my database is running. And I'm increasing this disk, I'm increasing this memory, and I'm increasing this CPU. Again, I'm increasing this CPU, again, I'm increasing this memory, and again, I'm increasing this disk. So vertically, I'm increasing the same CPU, I'm increasing the same memory, I'm increasing the same disk. What will happen? So the limitations are, I cannot go beyond a limit once it's reached the threshold. If I can go till 16 core CPU, I can go till 16 core CPU in this laptop. If I go only till 16 GB RAM, I can go only till 16 GB RAM. After that, I cannot increase the RAM size. And the disk size, if I can go only 1 terabyte, I can go only 1 terabyte. After that, I cannot expand this hard disk. So this is called vertical scaling, and these are the limitations in the vertical scaling. And of course, if the data size is 1 TB and 1 TB is filled, if I try to access it 1 TB, it will not prompt you immediately to the next page. It will not prompt you, or it will not allow you to do the operations if it is completely filled. You would have noticed it. If you go beyond the limit, it will show you red color, red band. Instead of blue, the blue turns to red. Means you are in the danger situation that you don't have space. So you cannot perform an operations. It will slow down the operation. Consider now the Oracle database or the RDBMS, whatever. So the RDBMS supports the vertical scaling. So in the vertical scaling, if the Facebook table, okay, if the Facebook table which has billion and trillion users, number of users. So once it's reached the vertical scaling, say 10 terabyte, okay, once it reached 10 terabyte, after that a new user tried to log in here, a new user tried to log in the Facebook. Will he be able to log in? Will he be able to register a new registration? Nothing will happen, because we already reached the threshold. There is no disk space, there is no memory, there is no memory, there is no CPU, nothing. All resources are fully utilized. The space, the database space also 10 terabyte utilized. I cannot go and perform this operation. What will happen? The entire Facebook will be down around the world, right? The application is down. The Facebook users cannot log in into the Facebook. Around the world, it is down. So RDBMS is failed to give a good solution in this case. If the space is filled, if the usage is high, the RDBMS is failed to give the solution here. Now we have a NoSQL technology here which gives the solution for that. NoSQL says you, hey, instead of doing the vertical scaling, I'll give you a feature called horizontal scaling. So what is horizontal scaling? Now come to the same disk. Instead of downloading, uploading the same disk, you have a separate disk in the separate machine. Let's say E is in my laptop, okay? F is with Rahul's laptop, and D, one more drive, D drive is with Pankaj laptop. Laptop means machine, okay? Linux machine. I'm just telling you an example laptop for understanding it in an easier way. So E is a separate machine, F is a separate machine, and C is a separate machine. Three different machine. Instead of having 10 terabyte here in this disk, in this machine, I'm splitting it up 3 terabyte here, 3 terabyte here, 3 terabyte here, 3 terabyte here, here 3 terabyte. I'm just splitting it horizontally. I'm splitting it. Instead of having 16 GB memory here, I'm having 4 GB memory here, 4 GB memory here, 4 GB memory here. Instead of having 32 CPU, having 8 CPU, 8 CPU, 8 CPU. So parallelly, I am distributing it. This is what called horizontal scaling. What can I achieve by doing this? What are the features by doing this? Instead of dumping into the same disk, same machine, which will turn into RAID, I will distribute the disk and memories. So due to this, I can achieve always my e-disk will be free, 50% free. Okay. And this also 50% free. This also 50% free. My operation will be very easier. And this also has the CPU, NFPCU freely available, and this also has the free memory. This also has the free memory. Oh my God, again the meeting is okay. So everything, guys. If it is disconnected, please join again, guys. So this is what called horizontal scaling. Instead of running it in the same machine, I run it in a different machine. Do you guys remember I told you what is a commodity hardware? Which slide it was? Yeah, here I told you, right? The commodity hardware. So the hardwares, right? I don't need any expensive hardware here. I can run the no commodity hardware. Commodity hardware means the hardware which is economically available. Instead of having my hardware, good performance hardware for $100, I can have the $10 hardwares, five $10 hardwares. I'm just telling you for an example, the dollars and all. Of course, for $10 you cannot get any hardwares. Just giving you an example. So I can have five $10 hardwares, means $50. Instead of having the $100 which will impact the performance, I can have the commodity hardwares in parallel. I can have it. So that is what called horizontal scaling. I'll pause on here. If you guys have any doubts, you can ask me. So this and all just an introduction about NoSQL. What is NoSQL? Because you guys should know what is NoSQL and what is RDBMS. When the interviewer asks you, why do you want to go for NoSQL? When we have Oracle, when I have Oracle in my environment for my transactions, when I have SQL Server, when I have MySQL, when I have my RDBMS, why do I go for NoSQL? What is the need of NoSQL? How it helps in the modern business needs? The interviewer may ask you this question. So for that, you should know the background of the NoSQL, what it is and how it helps us. So that is the only reason I explained you a lot about it. So okay, I'll pause on here for a few minutes. If you guys have any doubts, you can ask. Okay, I can take your silence as you don't have any doubts. Okay. Benefits of NoSQL: serves on online processing database, so it becomes the primary database operation database for the applications, called system of record for the line of business applications, primary source, real-time batch analytics, and enterprise search operations. I told you, right? It's used for the batch analytics. I told you the example of Yatra or Mac My Trip or whatever, and the real-time analytics. I told you, right? In the real time, if you are fetching something and it will give you some pop-ups. And the enterprise search operations. Search operations is mainly used for the data science and the search-based engines. Okay, so which will be useful for the large amount of data, like the big data amount. And the big data use cases involve data velocity, variety, and volume, and the complexity. The data velocity means the speed of the data. Okay, means just on WhatsApp, how many messages we are texting in a minute. Just imagine about the entire world. How many messages, crores and crores of messages, right? And how many messages we are uploading in the Facebook. The data velocity in a minute, in the same time, at this time, at this second, some users might have browsing it. Some users might have uploading it. Some users might have updating their status, updating, hey, I'm checking in here, I'm going here, I'm taking my pictures here. So the velocity of the data is very huge, and the RDBMS is failed to handle those kind of velocities. And the variety of data. Say again, take the example of Facebook again, the variety of data. The data may be in the form of text, maybe in the form of documents, maybe in the form of images, maybe in the form of videos and voice messages, whatever, the variety of data, right? So the NoSQL handle the variety of data and the volume of data. The volume of data is the the size of the data. Like we may upload 100 MB, 1000 MB, or 1 terabyte. In the YouTube, we are uploading 5 GB, 50 GB of data, everything, right? The volume of the data. So these are all called big data. And what is Excel distributed database and the multi data center operations. Okay, multi data center operations is nothing but see, we have a data center. Okay, to maintain all these servers, we have data centers available. Okay, we don't have usually the companies will not have the data servers in their own premises. They have it in the data centers. Okay, the data centers maybe in the US, right, called Richmond database and Harrisonburg. These are all the places. Okay, Harrisonburg data center, and I think in UK we have a Colt data center, and in India we had SIFI data center, but I'm not sure still we have it. VSNL data center. So these are the data center. Data centers are nothing but like it will be kind of big AC rooms where it has the servers. The freshers for you, you would have noticed some kind of Tamil movies or English movies or Hindi movies, right? The server rooms. So imagine that. So you'll have a big servers here. So those servers are being managed by. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the data centers. So multiple data centers. Okay. So we are having our Oracle or MySQL or Mongo or whatnot. What are the database? Okay. We all have in the same data center. Okay. Just imagine this data center has an outage. Okay. This data center is not available. It has some outage. It is down, the power down, or the cable down, or the internet down, or the fiber down, whatever. It is down. What will happen? What will happen to the ATM machine? They are swiping, and the HDFC customer is using Oracle, and they are swiping their amount, and the database is not available because the data center is down. What will happen? They will not get immediate response, right? The service is down, entire service. So we should have the multiple data center. One node is in the Richmond and another node should be in the another data center. If this data center is down, then we'll be able to retrieve the data from this data center. Okay, this data center will be available. So this is called DR. DR means disaster recovery. Okay, so if this is available, then if this is not available, then something should be available. So this is called DR. Got it, guys? So the NoSQL technology is multi-center data center operations, some better than others. Okay, it has a flexible schema. I told you what is flexible schema design, and that can be changed without downtime or service disruption. I told you, right? Example of this Facebook table. If we are uploading a table which is in 10 terabyte, it is really difficult to change or add or insert or update or something. So it will create a lock of the entire table. So there will be service disruption. But in the NoSQL, we don't need to do that. We can modify it over the fly, and there will not be any service disruption as well. And easily operate in the cloud and benefits of cloud computing. I told you how it is helping us to have the data in the cloud, and no need of separate caching layer. So the caching layer is nothing but in the Oracle, you guys, the Oracle guys, Pankaj maybe, you guys know, right? In the Oracle, we need to allocate this storage for what is that called? Buffer pool cache, right? Buffer pool cache or something. And in MySQL it is key buffer and or InnoDB buffer. And if it is Postgres,
Row cache also.
yeah, row
Row
cache.
cache.
Yeah. So we need to allocate the separate spaces for the caches, right? And if it is Postgres, we need to have the what is the temp mem something. Okay. Mem
Shared
cache.
buffer, wall buffer.
Wall buffer, correct, right? A headlock buffer and sad
Yes,
buffer,
temp buffer.
temp buffer for the sorting operation, and temp
Yes.
mem buffer, right? Temp mem buffer something. So we need to